So we are here with Keith Nichols. So first of all, Keith, again, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. It's a very pleasure to have your input during this process to learn process in Brazil for a Brazilian manufacturer, for a Brazilian, that's a very important, market for us. And I just, I'm thrilled to have you here on board. And I just wanted to start by asking you if you can just tell us a little bit more about you. What's your story? What is your experience? What's going on in the furniture industry?
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Dago, and it's a pleasure to be here. And thanks for inviting me. It's always good to talk about what we do for a living, and so this is certainly one of those times for me. So, my story is I've been in the furniture industry for over 30 years now. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess, as they say.
Yes.
I have spent the last 19 years with Century Furniture. And today I'm the vice president of manufacturing for Century Furniture. Century is a part of a bigger company called RHF Brands. So we are also sister companies with Hickory Chair, Hancock and Moore, Jessica Charles, Cabot Wren. So we're part of a larger organization, and my responsibility lies with Century.
Mhm.
And so I manage, and we have Century has three finished goods factories. Two of those are upholstery factories, and one of those is a case goods factory. We've got a distribution center and warehouse, and then purchasing, manufacturing, safety, product compliance, all of that rolls up through me. So I've got a pretty big job to
Yeah.
look after, and
Should be fun,
Cent-
right?
yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's never a dull day.
Yeah.
Um, Century's located in Hickory, North Carolina, so we are in what we like to think of the heart of the furniture industry in America. Lots of competitors that we battle with in the marketplace. Lots of our competitors are very close by, and so we're in an area that has always had a very large concentration of furniture manufacturing for many, many, many years.
Yes.
Um, Century has about 850 employees and growing. As you know, the furniture industry in America has exploded after we realized that we were going to be okay from COVID. It seemed like everybody in the country decided to buy new furniture, and so that has exploded our backlogs, and demand for our product has been at an all-time high. We're starting to see those incoming orders slow down some now to some more typical incoming
Natural.
order rates, which is, yeah, and that's not a bad thing for us because
Mhm.
it allows us to kind of decrease our backlog a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
but it has been a it's been an interesting time to say the least for the last 2.5 to 3 years.
Yes,
Um,
right. And Keith, we are talking about 75 years old, right? This is a center means. So I
we
just
that's
wanted to,
correct.
to link with the first question that I have for you is, what is the values? What is the value that you are looking for when you are start talking to some new manufacturers or vendors that is willing to start doing business with you?
Yeah, well, those values are going to be very, very. We're going to be looking for the similar values that we have at Century Furniture, and we like to say at Century, we we always try to do it the right way, and we always try to get to the right decision. We may stumble getting there, and it might not always be easy or flow smoothly to get to the right decision or to do the right thing, but we always try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that means we try to treat our employees with respect. We try to treat our customers with respect. We try to always have great product, um, and we try to produce a very high quality product while being good stewards of our environment, being good stewards to our community, um, and trying to make sure that we're just not focused on the furniture and the product, that we make sure we do things the right way. And that includes from an environmental perspective and from a safety perspective, from a compliance perspective, and from just the way we treat folks. Um, our vendors are, we very much like to do business with people that share those same kind of values.
Yes.
Uh, and that would be important for us, is
Yes,
to
it's all right. And then it's important because we are facing different times in America right now. In the United States government is looking for, they call friend shoring. That means is that they are looking for countries that is more similar with the values with the Americans as well. So this is why I think Brazil is a very good candidate for that, and this is why we are, have our effort to share more about the local culture for Brazilians and to give them a chance to adapt and to be even better prepared in front of the manufacturing and opportunities in America. And this I can go to the second one that could be what is the main elements to succeed in American market?
yeah, that's that's going to be, obviously there are some key components. It's the reliability, consistency, in not only the product that you make or the thing that you are providing, but the reliability and consistency of meeting the dates, meeting the lead times, keeping pricing consistent. Um, Quality is obviously very important for us. We're in the high end industry, and so we're gonna be have a keen eye on quality to make sure that the products are executed properly. Um, and price, and that landed, when you're talking about importing from other parts of the world, that landed cost for us is critical. Um,
Yes.
all of that rolls up into one big, um, it all rolls up and it plays into who we buy from and who we work
Yeah.
with.
Right.
Price isn't necessarily the biggest factor. Quality is a huge factor. Lead times are a big factor, but all of it plays together, that um, it doesn't do us any good to buy the cheapest.
Mm-hmm.
It's poor quality and you can't get it, and it's not reliable service.
Right.
Um, at the same time, it doesn't do us good if you buy the highest cost product and you can't get it and it's unreliable service. So it all is it goes into our analysis of who we choose to work with, and all of
Mhm.
those components are critical when we're looking for somebody to work with.
And this is so amazing because when I was there during the technical tour at Century, it's amazing, experience, and I just learned in that day that Century sometimes is similar of a concept of Aston Martin. If you can just explain a little bit more about that, because this is the very important point, how important it is quality, style, and everything that comes together for Century. So could you please explain a little bit more about that, relationship between both brands?
Um, I'm so I'm a little bit lost at what you're referring to.
Yeah, because the way that Aston Martin does something about the customization, the high
Okay,
quality of everything that we just talked about that in that
I
day.
got I got you now. I got you now. Yeah, so we are a made to order business. And because we live in that high end marketplace, our customers like to have choices. So we don't make um, hundreds of brown sofas. We don't make hundreds of brown nightstands. We don't make hundreds of the same dining room table. Um, we make products that offer our customers, our end user, the ability to configure and customize their what their product looks like. Sometimes those options could just be as simple as choosing your fabric, your finish, choosing your seat cushions out of one fabric and your sofa body out of another fabric. Sometimes those custom options could actually be changing the length, width, depth of the piece you're buying.
Mhm.
And so we really have to, it's been one of our ways to kind of defend ourselves against competition. And it has been it's been a good process for us to go through to allow that extreme customization in our product. It gives our customers something they can truly design a sofa. They can purchase a sofa or a dresser or a dining room table that chances are nobody else in the world has one like it, because of their custom configurations that they have chosen. Um, and that to do that in a relatively short time period,
Mhm.
um, is pretty amazing that we can pull that off every day.
Wow.
Our process through the factory is about 2 weeks. So once right now we have a long line of orders that are waiting to get released into the factory, but once we start in the factory, we generally take about 2 weeks to make the products that we pack and ship. So
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. And I just can, just link for the next thought about the what do you see the future for the furniture industry? I mean, design, I mean, innovation, I mean, millennials around. How could you see and put everything in the same, basket and try to figure out together?
yeah, so I think the future is very bright for furniture. Um, I've seen I have seen our design of products that are our best sellers. I've seen it change over the last 19 years from a more of a traditional look, a traditional American look, to a more transitional and even somewhat contemporary look. Um, some of that is just the fad phases that we go through in the fashion industry. I like to say that the products we are a fashion industry. We change colors, we change fabrics, we try to keep up to date with the current trends in color and styling. And so we've seen that customer um, change from that waterfall skirted sofa um, that may have bullion and trims all around it and is a real formal look, a very traditionally formal look. We've
Right.
seen that kind of die away, and that tighter, cleaner, crisper look of a track arm sofa with no skirt and some nice feet on it, nice exposed wood feet on it. We've seen that style change.
Mhm.
Um, I've seen over the last several years, I've seen a lot of mixed materials come into our product lines, and that's where we may incorporate wood and metal on the same piece. We may do wood and wicker. We use acrylics today. We use oh gosh, leather covered things, raffia covered cases. I just see us using more and more mixed materials. And lots of times those mixed materials come from other places than where we live. And
Yes.
we have to import those mixed materials.
Right.
Um, so I think that the future of where our industry is going, especially at the high end, I think is to continue to um, probably push that design envelope to do more mixed materials. We're always looking for unique materials and unique techniques to apply those materials. Um, and typically we find those materials and techniques, we find those in other parts of the world rather than right
Wow.
here in America. And I think our customer um, loves to not just have that suited set of furniture in their living spaces. They
Mm-hmm.
don't their sofa, love seat, chair, and ottoman to all match. They
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to have all of the occasional pieces to match, and
Mm-hmm.
they like to have more of a collected set instead of a suited set. And so having um, those unique forms that may have that may have some geometric shapes or some mixed materials to accompany
Mm-hmm.
other products,
Mm-hmm.
I think is going to continue to be big for us in the future.
Wow. Wow, so right. And what about challenge? Could you share some of the biggest challenges nowadays? And you just touched base some of those. We just had that conversation before, but I think it's a good, opportunity to share a little bit more about the reality in America right now in a manufacturing.
Yeah, the challenges in America right now are we are facing somewhat of a labor shortage. Finding skilled craftsmen and women that to uh, know how to machine and sand and finish wood parts, know how to cut and sew and upholster upholstery parts, finding that skilled labor. Although we have a lot of it in our area, everybody it seems like has the skilled craftsmanship that we need at Century Furniture. It seems like all those folks have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the good part and bad part about competition is there is
Yeah.
a lot of labor. It's just all of our competitors are very healthy with backlogs, and so there's just not a lot of labor
Mm-hmm.
um, looking for jobs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What
we
about
do feel like we've
components?
got to
I'm
go.
sorry. What about components? You see something about parts and components?
Yeah, components we see in our local area. We obviously have lots of local vendors that make different things for us. We have some small woodworking shops that are around, and they're family-owned business, and we have seen some of those go away over the last 3 years just from the effects of COVID and supply chain disruptions and the just finding it hard to find labor to support those. So we've seen some of our woodworking vendors close up,
Mm-hmm.
and we see that local network being just a little more fragile than it has been in the over
Yes.
the historical times. And so that causes us to look for other places to get those things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Components from not just from locally, but in general, components from around the world and all the materials that we use have had the same challenges that I'm sure have been felt in Brazil over the last 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The sharp drop off of COVID and then the rising demand after COVID, and it just seemed like we were chasing some really extreme conditions. Not to mention the different country shutdowns across Asia due to COVID really affected our supply chain. The container network was a huge problem for us.
Mm-hmm.
All of that seems to be settling out now just a little bit. We do have some areas that we are still challenged with getting supplies in a timely manner. We do still have some vendors that have some extremely long lead times.
Yes.
And so I think that, we not only are we looking for high quality, different, unique materials, we're also looking probably to shorten up some lead times. The shorter that lead time is for us, the more reactive we can be, and the more flexible we can be. So, um, but we require a lot of components to use our product to make our end items. And
Yeah, and I can understand for by saying that maybe there is a space for newcomers. Is that
I
correct?
think I think there is a lot of space for newcomers. I really do. And if you throw in newcomers with new techniques, new materials, there's certainly a lot of space for newcomers in this industry.
Oh, wow, so great. So, Keith, again, I think before we just finish, I don't know if you have some advice that you can maybe share with Brazil that's gonna see us and learn more from you. You have any piece of advice, maybe?
Yeah, goodness. I didn't know I was going to be asked to provide advice, but I think um, it's spend some time learning the industry, spend some time talking to folks just like you're doing today. This is a great idea and a great thing to do. Come to our High Point Furniture Market. I think you've got a trip scheduled or planned there. Come
Mhm.
see the industry. Come see the final product that we're selling today. Um, you know, think about those Brazilian native species that may not be prevalent in our industry today, and figure out how to highlight those
Implement
beautiful
that.
woods, and um, and and figure out how they can incorporate into something new and interesting in the United States furniture industry. Um, and then certainly it's spend some time getting to know the actual manufacturers and what they need, and again, we're going to at Century, we're as concerned about the relationship as we are about the product. And we want to do business with folks that have our similar core values. um, we want to build that relationship over time and grow that relationship with good business practices. And I
Yes.
think the more that you can learn about that before you just dive in head first,
Sure.
the more successful you will be.
Yeah,
Um,
this is what we exactly am doing right now because it's so important to have your insights and learn again from you is so important, Keith. And again, I'm so thrilled to have you on board. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully to see you soon, even in High Point and even Hickory. Are going to be there again with you. It's a very pleasure all the time. And again, thank you very much, Keith, for everything.
you you are very welcome. Thank you for having me today.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, have a great day there. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.